So hi there, in this video I'm going to tell you how to create contracts and benefits. So to create contracts you just go to create, then contract, and then you fill out all the fields that are in here. I'll just run you through them quickly. So contract title, obviously the title of your contract, reference number, the alphanumeric reference number that you use internally to describe these, define them again. A contract description, a paragraph or so describing what the contract's about. Contract type, this is a fixed field, goods, services or works. Contract category, this is one of the filters that you defined. Portfolio, again one of the filters that you've defined. You can choose any of the different levels of the tree-based structure, but I guess a lot of the time you might pick the sub-project level, and then if you search based on the levels above that, you'll still be able to find it in common with any others that share the same categories. Department, something you've defined again, another filter. Contract location, again something you define, either place names or perhaps postcodes. Budget source, this is a fixed field, capital grant, revenue or other. Contract value, a monetary value for the contract. A start date, when it starts, an end date, when it ends. And then one or more people as contract managers. So contract managers are people who are going to approve or reject evidence and feedback scores that your assessors, supplier and delivery partners provide for each benefit. They typically are called a contract manager in real life perhaps, or maybe they could be called something else like a service area manager or a strategic lead, and they're typically the person that's responsible for overall for the project or contract. And then you can select one or more suppliers here as well, because perhaps the contract is a framework contract, in which case you might want to select the different suppliers that are part of it. You can change the contract status, so we have a number of fields here: in development, tendered, abandoned, awarded, on hold, in progress, completed and incomplete, fixed fields. And finally we have an unpublished and published flag. So if you mark a contract as unpublished, then it will be hidden from assessors, suppliers and delivery partners until you publish it. And once you publish it, those people who are assigned in your benefits in those roles will get an email, telling them about the contract being published and asking them to log in and check to see what evidence they're due to submit. If you want to, you can quickly create more than one contract or more than one benefit. You fill out this information, and then you can go back up and just change the fields that you want to change that make the different contracts different, and click create again. So it's a quick way to create more than one contract, more than one benefit. Although in a future video I will also show you quickly how to import contracts and benefits en masse, up to 1,000 at a time. So that's creating a contract. Once you've created a contract, you can then create a benefit inside it. And there are two types of benefits: the shared benefits and the specific benefits. So shared benefits represent the kind of framework or menu or KPIs that your organization has for things that you want suppliers to deliver in common. When you publish a tender, you maybe provide them with a suggested list of things. That's what I'm talking about with shared benefits. I've already shown you in a previous video how to create the shared benefit parents. It's a common part, and I'm just about to show you how to create the child part, the bit which makes it unique to that contract. So you select the shared benefit you've already created, the parent you've already created. You select the contract that you want it to be inside, and then you fill out the fields that make it unique to that contract. So you select a benefit model, evaluated, mandatory, voluntary or none, fixed field. You select a benefit location. This is something which you've determined, again probably place names or maybe postcodes. You type in a number of points that benefit represents. Perhaps you have this in your framework or your guidance. Perhaps it changes based on how many of these things there are, or also perhaps precisely where it is based, because maybe some parts of your area are more valuable to some benefits than others, if they're particularly deprived, for example. You can also enter a benefit value, a monetary value for a benefit if you want to. Again, maybe this is part of your framework or your guidance, and maybe it's altered by the location and the quantity. Quantity obviously represents the number of the thing that's going to be delivered in this case. And I would say that for benefits that are based on individual people getting some kind of training or employment, it may be best to tackle these one at a time. So but whereas something where there are lots of things delivered, maybe like 500 trees are being planted or 500 light bulbs, low energy light bulbs are being installed, I typically would put a higher quantity here. But there's nothing to say that you have to do that. But I think I would do that just to have it cleaner. you can select the people that you want to have associated with the benefit. So you can select the assessors. These are people within your organization, probably project managers or something like that, people who are intimately involved in the delivery of the contract on a day-to-day basis and maybe physically present and provide their own evidence. You can select the supplier, the person who's actually delivering the benefit, or whose subcontractor is delivering the benefit. And you can select one or more delivery partners, and these are third sector organisations who, like social enterprises, community councils, parish councils, maybe schools, who are helping to deliver the benefit or who represent the people that benefit from it. And then you can create a start date and a final delivery date, and then for each of those dates, these people like we've just defined will get an email or reminder a week, a day before the date, and a week afterwards if they haven't already submitted their evidence. You can also, the minimum to here is to have a start date and a final delivery date, but you can also add interim delivery dates if you want to, and those can have a date, and you can also have an arbitrary title that you enter in there. And perhaps this is useful in two scenarios. The one I had thought of is when you have a benefit which is delivered, or a contract that's delivered over a long period of time and benefits within inside that, and it's nice to maybe check in once in a while in that long period to determine what's going on with a benefit. So maybe like an annual or a quarterly update or something like that. A scenario which other people have started to use it for, which goes back to something I was just mentioning a moment ago. If, for example, you have a quantity here higher than one, and for you could hypothetically put in a date for each of the one things that you wanted to deliver and have someone talking about it there. So that's a way in which, if you wanted to have more than one, for example, work placement in the same benefit, you could use this mechanism to try and capture information about each of those. But for me, I think it's cleaner to have one quantity for one sort of person-based benefit, but to use the quantity for where we're delivering a bunch of things. And finally, we've got the benefit status. So this is a fixed field: not started, in progress, delayed, completed, incomplete, or substituted. And that's something which can easily be set by the contract manager when they're checking evidence and scores. So it should always be up to date. It's quite easy for them to keep it up to date because they're going to be doing it somewhere where they have to be anyway. There are three fields here: delayed, incomplete, and substituted, which also pop down a little status explanation blocks. So you can type in here a reason why that particular status has been selected, and that appears in the report that you can download, as I'll show you later on. Particularly useful for substituted, but just as useful for delayed and incomplete as well. But substituted, if a supplier is planning to deliver a particular benefit, but then they can't for whatever reason, their own reason, or maybe the delivery partner's reason, then they'll speak to you and agree to do something else instead. But rather than just edit this benefit and change it into something else, you can keep it and you can type in here the reason why this has happened, and maybe even point to the new benefit that you're creating and refer to the benefit reference number. So it's just a good way to report on things and learn from mistakes and make sure you've got a good record. The last thing I mentioned there, the benefit reference number, for every benefit that we create, whether a shared benefit or a specific benefit, a randomly generated 4-character number is created to enable you to quickly find these things in reports and refer to things in common with your supplier and delivery partner and assessor. So that's selecting a shared benefit. Creating a specific benefit is very similar. The only difference is, rather than having the shared benefit split between the sort of parent part, the sort of common menu framework KPI part, and the sort of the bit which makes it unique to a contract, we have everything in one form. And the reason we do this is specific benefits are really for those kind of innovative ideas that supplier or you have for a particular contract. There's one-off things, and you're basically filling out all the information in one go rather than splitting it over two things. So this includes the outcome, the description, and the category, for example, which would normally be part of the shared benefit parent. I'm not going to go through these things because it's just the same as the shared benefit, but in one form. Thank you.